Adios, Satya here in Singapore. Thank you so much for joining me on the Night Owl podcast. As always, another episode, another thought process. I'm over here trying to influence thoughts and be the architect of a couple of paradigm shifts because, I'm going through them myself, you guys, so I might as well share the fun, right? Been looking through my feed as always and just, I don't know, filling my storyline with exciting news, new businesses that are coming up with new products, and following all of my friends and supporting them as much as I can. Reaching out to people when I see that they may be down and out a little bit, feeling out of sorts, maybe, and also just, promoting accounts that I love so very much. So Teal Swan is one of those accounts that I really, really love, and she has a quote here that says, "The more fearful a person is, the more he uses his mind. And the more fearless a person is, the more he uses his heart." And you know what? That's actually very true for me. I've been looking at the way quotes actually affect me or how they fit into my life, how I possibly live out what the quote is saying, or have found a way to not fall into that same cliche. So with this particular one where it talks about fear versus love, fear versus heart, your mind versus your heart, I think it's been quite the discovery for me anyway, because I will talk myself out of everything. I have been afraid of judgment, fear of rejection, scared that, people will pick apart whatever it is that I'm trying to tell them or teach them or sell them, and I will be seen as a fraud. Like, the imposter is real with me. So I have been trying really hard to be as brave as possible, go with my heart, whatever my first gut feeling is, try and kind of put things into perspective for myself without overthinking. And that's the fine line right there. How do you do this without overthinking? Because you do need your brain a little bit. You need to strategize to make sure it's the best possible launch. But even then, people who are on social media will tell you, how do I know what's going to go viral? How do I know what works for my audience? How do I get people to like and comment and subscribe? Is it okay to ask people to do so? Is it okay to point out the fact that, you want people to do something and then have them respond and obey almost, right? So it's a lot of thinking that it does go to putting together a post and then, putting content out for the world to see. And then it's a matter of, okay, which platform, how often, what time, who do I tag? Do I tag anybody? And yeah, there's plenty of thinking involved. But for the most part, I would love to see myself do more of the, hey, I want to post this, so I'm going to post this right now. I think I've curated my feed enough to where I'm like, okay, it doesn't look nice anymore if I just post randomly. I still need to go with the theme a little bit, but I've tried to loosen up my grip on what everything should look like so it's not so curated. I want that freedom and that liberty to be able to post whatever I want. Like the other day, somebody sent me a piece that they had put together for me out of still shots that I did at a photo shoot, right? And I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was really beautiful, and they took the time to, make it all black and white. And then they also put it together as if it was a video with like a filter on top, not to color me, but to kind of like add a little flair to, it was like light leaks and stuff like that. And I thought it was really beautiful. And I was like, oh my God, I want to post it right now. And then I was like, nope, but my feed, the next post that's supposed to go up is supposed to be a quote post, and then it's going to be a picture post, and then it's going to be a meek post. And I was like, yeah, I got to wait. But even then I was like, stalling on how to put it in and stalling on what to say, and because I had to put the other two posts up first. And I hate that I painted myself into a corner because my heart wants what it wants, right? I want to be brave and just put it out there. But I think, as much as that is a dangerous statement, I do think that sometimes the strategy does work and it's helpful. So you have a plan, but that also means that I need to have content lined up. So if I were to have something pop up, I can quickly post the other two in the feed and then post this one as I see fit. I think that would be really helpful, but I'm not in that place yet. So that's, something that I need to work on. Outside of that though, I feel like I want to go and talk about my business all the time, but I'm afraid of what to say. I'm afraid of if I say it wrong. What's the worst that could happen though if I were to say it wrong? What's the worst that could happen if I were to get on live and start talking about the business and people say, oh my gosh, I don't like this, or they comment on the live itself, or they join me and they want to ask to, if they could be featured on the page somehow. Like, how do I manage all of those things? But I feel like I need to go with my gut a little bit more. I need to trust my heart a little bit more, because all of this time I think I've held back and I've been afraid of what the success might mean, the responsibility that comes with earning more money, the responsibility, my duty towards my clients, my customers, my audience, because I'm actually really trying to teach people. I really am trying to change my little neck of the woods here so that people have an easier time of their lives. They don't feel so constricted. They don't feel like they're obligated to, listen to everybody who has an opinion because everybody has an opinion. And I do want to teach love more. I do want people to face their own fears and look at what their prejudices are and why they have prejudices in the first place. But in order for that to happen, I kind of got to lead by example, right? I got to do what I think is right for me and then teach people that, hey, I tried this and it worked for me. Maybe it can work for you as well. So yeah, I'm inclined to agree. Teal Swan said the more fearful a person is, the more they use their mind. And that's true. When I'm worried about something, when I'm scared about something, I will pick it apart into 1,000 pieces. And I will play out every bad scenario, every possibility that I would fail. And I'll play it out all the way until the end. And usually it ends of, death by embarrassment or some stupid thing like that. But it's very rarely that I just kind of go with my gut and just jump into it, like just do it and see what happens. Usually when I have to go live, I just turn it on and take a deep breath and here we go. We're gonna wing it. And more often than not, it turns out fairly well. It's okay. Even when I'm doing the podcast, sometimes I feel like I ramble a lot or I'm not making sense, but I don't want to go back and edit it unless it really is like out left field where it doesn't make any sense or I'm showing prejudice or bias and I'm angry rather than, level-headed in speaking about what it is that I'm experiencing at the time. So I do try a lot to let my heart lead the way, but I am human and I do have my own traumas and a lot of healing to do. And my fear does come from a place of, hey, you've been through something similar to this before. What if it happens again? Or if somebody were to find out, if somebody were to snitch on me or think that, that I was doing something out of the ordinary or unbecoming of a woman of my stature, or whatever that means, or a woman who is female and Indian and Hindu in an Asian country. Like there's so many ways this could go wrong. But I'm trying really hard to learn to let my heart lead so that I could enjoy the excitement that comes with, hey, it turned out okay. Hey, it turned out really well. Hey, I connected with somebody because they wrote right back to me immediately because they resonated with whatever the post was. I can't tell you how excited I get when I write a post and I have obviously a lot of likes fairly quickly and then a lot of comments. More than likes, I actually look for the comments because I want to see if people are actually reading the post or not. I'm not a big fan of emoji comments. I look for people who are able to engage with the content itself. Tell me what about the post really spoke to you. Tell me what you actually appreciate about what it is that I'm teaching. If you have a question about it, I've had a couple people question me in my post itself, and I really appreciate that because it means you read the post. It means that you have a thought to share. And whether it's to judge me or not, I'm learning to accept the fact that people are going to have an opinion, but the fact that they're willing to share it with me, that means a lot to me. That means that they find me a safe enough space where they can run their mouth or ask questions or debate me a little bit. And I think that's fair. I think that's very fair. And that's what I'm actually looking for, a lot of feedback, right? So as much as I would like to say that I've conquered fear, I have not. I think every level of my evolution will always have some kind of fear behind it, and it will always be a hero's journey where I gotta suck it up and find a way to do it anyway. To be very honest, my website is still not completely done because I'm afraid that, once I put it up there and leave it for everyone to see, that they're gonna have stuff to say about it that's not pretty, it's not easy, it's difficult to manipulate, it's difficult to maneuver, it's not, interactive or friendly, user-friendly, that's what I was looking for, user-friendly, and maybe it doesn't fit on a mobile, or maybe it's not, good enough for, I don't know. I'm always worried about something. I'm worried that I'm not going to write the verbiage down correctly. I'm worried that it's going to sound lame. And it's not that I can't adjust it along the way, because this is about the third rendition of my website now. It's more like I'm not ready to put myself out there still, even though I'm putting myself out there on a daily basis. Like, the website is a little more official, don't you think? So even now, I battle fear on a daily basis. Now, the goal is before the end of the year that I'm going to finish this damn website and put it up, and that'll be it. And then it will be just a matter of adding in new products or new services as I create them. So it's not a lot of, editing and adjusting. It's more like just add it here as the feed grows, as I create things, and it shouldn't be such a big deal. But the one thing that I absolutely hate is writing bios. I don't want to talk about myself. I don't want to tell you how great I am. I want you to discover that for yourself. But in order for people to want to discover it, I got to kind of, toot my own horn a little bit. So there are aspects of my life that I am still quite fearful of. And there are aspects of my life that I've learned to be very brave with. Like, I am not so worried about walking out of the house without makeup on anymore. I used to be very worried about that. I used to be worried about whether my clothes fit well or not. I used to be worried about whether I was dressed up enough, if I looked appropriate, if I looked the part. Obviously, going to work in a corporate setting is very different from working for myself, where I can run around in my pajamas all day if I wanted to. But even then, my demeanor, my bedside demeanor, how I answer the phone, how I speak to people in consults, stuff like that, I still need to be very mindful, and I'm not afraid. I think I've kind of accepted myself as I am, and that part of me is okay. But when it comes to, oh gosh, I'm still afraid of speaking my mind in Tamil because I feel like I don't have the vocabulary. And I'm working on it, but it's a matter of being able to practice as well. There are aspects where I'm still afraid in front of certain people. When I cook, I'm afraid that I'm not going to make the tastiest of food. Like, my brain will fail me and I won't be able to make the food that I know so well. Little things like that, they happen all the time. But it's a matter of starting. It's a matter of just beginning the work and see how it turns out, and just being brave enough to put yourself out there. It is becoming more of a habit to be vulnerable. And I'm grateful for people like Brene Brown to pave the way for this, for us to have the conversations. I'm grateful to people like Shonda Rhimes and Mastin Kipp and gosh, who else? Simon Sinek, Tony Robbins, of course. Who else? Goodness. Chloe Madanas and her family, just many, many people who are paving the way by doing the research and speaking about one specific thing over and over again. I was very, very afraid to niche down. I did not want to be known as the romance person or the relationship girl or the parenting person, because I feel like emotional intelligence covers all of those things. It's human relations 101. And so what I did instead, and I'm still kind of scared about it, what I did instead was I niched up. I went broad. I went about as broad as it could get, because I feel like anytime you speak to another human being, all of your emotions come into play, all of your history comes into play, all of the things you've lived through before pop up in some form or another, whether you relate to them a story which makes you and them bond a little bit, right? So that they feel comfortable around you, or you tell them about your fears, or you change the way you speak to them because suddenly they remind you of somebody that wasn't so safe once before. So all of that always comes into play no matter who you speak to. And so at first I was afraid not to niche down like everybody else was doing. And then I realized, no, this fits me. This feels good to me. I'm not niching down, because human relations is a category all by itself. And it is a very broad category. There's so many things we could speak about, but I'm doing what I feel is right for me. I'm being brave. I'm going with my gut. And maybe I haven't said it correctly. Maybe I haven't been as explicit as I could be, but I'm learning along the way. The mistakes do help. And the mistakes do hurt, depending on what you focus on. If I only focused on my mistakes, I would be even more fearful today. But if I realize, hey, okay, I did this and it didn't turn out so well, what part of this journey did it go wrong? Where did that left turn happen? And so I can go back and kind of adjust it and try something different. So then it becomes an experiment where I'm expected to fail and learn something from each time that I fail. Instead of, I only got one shot, and if I screw it up, I screw it up, and then there's nothing else after that. I've ruined it. So I've learned to take the pressure off myself. I've learned to kind of follow my gut a little bit more. I don't do it as often as I could be. It's not second nature yet, but I'm working on it. But even then, yes, I feel like the more we think about things, the more I screw it up. Law of attraction states that you have to feel something for 17 seconds. Do you have any idea how long 17 seconds is when you're trying to think of the positive aspects of what you want? It's very long. I'll tell you this because when I do daily doses, which are anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds, I can say a lot in 30 to 45 seconds, which is why people, I guess, are enjoying the daily doses as much as they do. So once again, you guys, thinking is useful. Drawing the line between thinking clearly and overthinking, very, very fine art at this point. But following your heart, trusting your gut, just doing what feels good in the moment, that's something we should all learn to do a little bit more. If you want to go for a walk all of a sudden, if you want to go kick in puddles in the rain and you have time to do so, do it. Like, these are the things that help us feel good about ourselves, help us remember that, you know what, we do have this one shot at life and we're supposed to enjoy as much of it as we possibly can. So why not follow your heart? If your heart wants that guy, go after him. wholeheartedly. And if he decides he doesn't like you, you got to be able to take that information in stride as well. So, got any questions, comments, drop them in the comments below. But until the next time, you guys, try and do something for you. Try and be brave about something new every day, just for you, and see how that feels. Because, like everything, it becomes a habit, right? You need the habit. You need it for yourself. All right, you guys, I'll catch you later. Bye.